I'm Kayla.
I'm Alyssa.
And this is the Christie Club.
So we're gonna play a game. Trivia questions, back and forth. And you can play with us of the short stories we've read in the past. So all the Regatta Mysteries, plus the Chocolate Box.
So just random questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
You start. Go ahead.
Me start. I did not prepare for this. Okay. Well, let's see. What was the name of the woman who needed Poirot's help in the chocolate box?
Do you know it? Because
Yes.
I will tell you, looking back,
I forgot.
there are no names in my head. None. Like,
awesome. I'll win
not a
this game.
single one from the chocolate box, not a single one from the Baghdad chest.
Okay.
Yellow Iris, maybe one. Like, it's really bad, so I have no idea.
But like,
What's her name?
okay, first off, Yellow Iris, of course, that one's easy.
One
Second-
name.
Okay, well, for the chocolate box, I'm pretty sure it was Mesnard or Maynard. But the only reason I know that, I remember, is because we have a character here named Despard. So it's like, oh, it looks the same. I don't remember if that was a lady who needed his help. I honestly don't know if a lady needed his help at all in that one, because I totally
Yes,
forgot
she
what
did.
that was about. Okay, good.
There was a lady who came to Poirot.
Awesome.
Mine is, what were the colors on the chocolate box in the chocolate box?
Pink and blue?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Oh, okay.
I guess I lost.
What? Well, okay, what was a character, obviously not Poirot, not a familiar character, from the Yellow Iris?
Iris?
Yeah. Yes! There you go!
I got one.
did it.
Was there also a guy named Anthony? No?
Yeah, Tony, right?
Oh, Tony. Close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, 2 characters.
Awesome.
I actually can do a lot from Problem at Sea.
Yeah?
I think. You've got Clapperton,
Oh my gosh.
Colonel Clapperton, Miss
Yes.
Clapperton, Miss Henderson,
Henderson.
Kitty Mooney.
Kitty.
You've got some kind of sailor dude.
Paula. Was there a Paula?
I feel like there was the other girl.
Pauline or something.
Something.
That was the only name I remember. I don't remember anything from that one.
I will never forget Clapperton for some reason.
Nice.
You know, playing that game reminded me of some of the clues that I think have some amount of importance in the last 5 chapters we just read of Cards on the Table.
Really? You don't say.
So, we have continued our trip into reading Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie, and this time we read 5 chapters from chapter 8, chapter 9, Dr. Roberts, up until chapter 13, Second Visitor, so through chapter 13.
Yeah.
So if you want to read with us, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Go and do that. Okay. We're going to kind of go in order of what we read.
In chronological order.
Yeah, so starting with Dr. Roberts, Battle, interrogates. It's more like questions him, and then Poirot also questions him.
So we take a visit to Dr. Roberts' office, doctor's office.
Yeah.
We meet his secretary, I believe.
Yeah.
Or assistant, Miss Burgess. I really liked her character, honestly.
I thought she was unmemorable, but I did read this chapter, weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I liked that she was, a serious professional, and she was, kind of no-nonsense, person.
I feel like that comes up too often with secretaries. They're always very professional and no nonsense, and I was like, kind of boring.
You're like, they could have some character, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't...
And they always, love their job or something, and I'm like, ew. Who loves their job?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, I just kind of, she seemed very professional, and then also, there was just some comment in there where Battle was trying to get deeper into the relationship between Dr. Roberts and Mr. Shaitana, and he was asking Miss Burgess if she read anything from the gossip columns or something about Mr. Shaitana, and she's all, I have better things to do than reading the fashionable news with a little sassy hair flip. Okay, the sassy hair flip might not have been in there, but it might as well have been, okay? So I just like that.
As more you read with Miss Battle, Superintendent Battle, I find him so boring.
Really?
Like, he does try different things in questioning, like, and they work for the most part, but, like, he's not as fun as Miss Oliver or Poirot.
Oh, he is nowhere near as fun as Mrs. Oliver.
So when you're jumping back and forth between all these different detectives, like, doing their detective-ness, detecting?
Yes.
Every time it's Battle, super, okay, his name is Superior, but every time Superintendent Battle is the one doing the detecting, it's so boring, and I'm like, oh, we're just getting through all the dumb stuff that we have to get through.
Okay, but I like just being the detective yourself and trying to, like, figure out anything that they say, but I mean, I understand, because with Poirot, there's mystery in his own questions.
Yeah, they're interesting.
So it's like, what is he getting at? What is what was his why did he respond this way to their their answer? What was so important about like asking what was in the room or something?
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I did think the conversation between Battle and Burgess was pretty funny, just because she was like, you're not getting anything out of me, basically.
Yeah.
And then he's all like, all right, I'm not, whatever. But then he kind of acted like he already knew certain things.
Yes.
And she just totally believed him. And it was like, getting the information out of her was just like squeezing a lime, like a really rotten, soggy lime. I don't know, it's a terrible metaphor, but it was easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
I did enjoy, just in that conversation, they reference a Miss Graves, and that's this person died, and I was like, ha.
Yes. Yes, I do like the names. I feel like I've seen that before, too.
I feel like there has been another Miss Graves who also died.
Yeah.
Or, like, similar kind of names. But I do enjoy those, because I'm so bad with names, and having, like, his name be Battle,
it
makes it memorable, yeah.
Oh, speaking of names, I realized while I was reading this, in this section, that Mrs. Oliver's first name is Ariadne. And I was like, oh, that's cool, like Greek myth. And then I was like, oh, she's the one who, like, helped Theseus get through, like, the Minotaur Labyrinth, right? And,
that's that character.
And so she's, of course, gonna be the one who knows how to navigate the mystery because she knows better. She knows to carry the thread along. She's the representative of the author who knows the secret the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome. That's cool. Very clever thing you did there.
When Poirot investigates, he investigates different than Battle, which I think is so much more fun. And the big clue that he asks is what did Mr. Dr. Roberts see in the room? And he, like, asks him to list all those things. And he's trying to see if he says it, like, a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Or and that thing he doesn't say, it's missing, right? And that tells Poirot something. What are we supposed to get out of this clue? Do you think you know?
I have no idea. I did not think too hard about it because I knew that
you couldn't get it?
No.
Because a lot of times with their clues, it's the idea of it's not what they say, but it's what they're missing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, is there a specific item in the room that would be noticed only if you're the murderer? Because you, like, were over...
Yeah, you were. Yeah, or I guess so. Like maybe he was just trying to see how observant they were, and if they were the murderer, they might be distracted, especially if they were nervous. Then they wouldn't have been as attentive to their surroundings, or maybe even.
Or maybe you're more attentive to your surroundings and you're not less attentive to the game if you're the murderer, because you're like not worried about the game. Mm-hmm. You're worried about what's going on. Can
I say one of my predictions?
Yes, go for it.
I bet when he asks Meredith this,
we have not done yet.
She's gone around. They've said multiple times that she's gone around and walked around the room, just kind of looking around and doing nothing. I was if he asks her, but none of the other characters were specifically just looking at random stuff. They were all going to get something, and they happen to pull out all these details about the surrounding. But if he asks her and her mind's completely blank, it's like. What were you doing that whole time? Where was your mind when you were going and examining all these objects, right? So I bet that would kind of give us a clue. If she were the murderer, I don't know. We'll see. But And then I love that at the beginning of that interrogation between Poirot and Roberts. He's all like, man, I have no idea. This is going to be really hard tugging it from my memory. And he's all like, no, just give it a try. And he's like, okay. Giant freaking paragraph of description. I was like, what is this? Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, not okay.
So I think this is the other weird clue. Because, like, the last clue was, like, how they play bridge. And this clue is, like, what did they notice in the room? Mm-hmm. And I think, like, that's what we need to... I feel like that... Why looking at those clues, why those clues are important is probably going to help you figure it out. But I have no idea.
Yeah.
But we could also ask the same question, because Poirot also goes to Miss... What's her name? Lorimer. And he also asked her if she can remember what happened in the bridge game. And she can remember every single move. But she doesn't really know what's in the room, right? Am I correct?
I think so.
I don't know. I think it makes her seem more innocent because she was focused on the game, not murdering somebody.
Yeah. Do you think there was any clue in her memory of the game, like in the specific details?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's something we're missing because we don't know how to play bridge.
Yeah, I was like, I get sort of the basics. Not really, but...
Isn't there a thing you become a dummy and then you have to you don't play around?
Yeah,
that's... And so could somebody have tried to on purposely lost so they would be the dummy so they could walk around and then kill Mr. Shaitana?
That's exactly what I was thinking, yes.
For Anne. So then that would point to Anne Meredith, right?
But it was...
Because she was the worst player.
You have to be... It's not that you're the worst, it's that your partner... Wins.
So it would never be Miss Lorimer.
He was basically, yeah, pretty much. So except for that time when she went over and supposedly
looked at somebody else. Yeah, but
yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like all of these things point it's not Miss Lorimer, which is suspicious in itself. But I think.
But if we're going on suspicion, it's usually the least suspected person, right? Or it tends to be, or it makes for a more dramatic story. Mm-hmm. And I noticed in the conversation between Despard and Meredith that he just totally assumed that she was innocent, that she was not capable of murder at all. Yeah. And I was like, if she is the murderer, this is just such a delicious scene right here. 'Cause it's you're so dumb, dude. You're a fool.
If you had to pick out of the 4 people who it was right now, who would you pick?
Anne.
Yeah, me too.
Completely, yeah.
I feel like it is her.
Thank you.
I really do. Anyways, so going to her investigation, we've just seen Miss Oliver go to her house.
Yes.
And Miss Oliver, I think it's a play, it's a strategy, of pretending she totally thinks it's Dr. Roberts. Mm-hmm.
So that she can kind of...
Yeah, get stuff out of Anne. And we also meet Anne's friend, Rhonda? Is that her name?
Rhoda?
Rhoda? Mm-hmm. Did I add an N when there wasn't one?
I think so.
But anyways, what do you think about her friend? Because she surprisingly came up a lot, and I was like, huh.
She's frightfully entertaining, I would say. She says frightful and frightfully a lot.
Yeah, she does. It is Rhoda, there's no N.
She's a little bit of a foil to Meredith.
To Meredith. And she's is.
If I were there, I would have such a lovely time with all the thrill of the murder. And Anne is just like, no. You wouldn't. You would not have liked it.
I kind of like her addition.
Yeah, I thought that was sweet too, because it's not just as because when Despard comes over towards the end of Miss Oliver's visit, he's like, oh, I just kind of assumed you would be, that kind of person who has nobody else in the world. And it's like, no, she's got a friend, That was kind of sweet. Mm-hmm. And then you have Despard. Despard, when he's like, this is such a sweet pair of kids. I would love to get to know them and stuff.
Ew.
I don't know. We don't know how old he is.
No, we don't.
But I think he was totally in love with Meredith.
Yes.
So
I agree now at this point, and I don't like it.
See, I told you so. In my mind, they're not much older.
It's probably better if I imagine them that way.
Yeah.
They did say he's an attractive man, and I was like, wait, I have to switch the image in my head now.
Yeah. Just that use of that word, though, kid. I was like, okay. But no, I absolutely enjoyed the description of Mrs. Oliver as she was just exiting her car and all the apples and the apple cores, and I thought that was a lovely entrance to make. I found that very entertaining.
I think she's hilarious and super fun. I did want to touch on, she's like said that she's is a middle-aged woman of generous proportions.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, is this plus-size representation? but I also feel like it's used in a way that's more like, it's as a joke rather than...
For the comedic effect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is kind of like, poking at the body standards, I guess, or like...
A little bit,
the beauty standards.
And she's a very likable, I think a very likable character, especially that you, like, know that she's kind of an Agatha stand-in.
Yeah.
And so that makes her, makes that more, like, a positive thing.
Yeah. And then it's just also kind of like a vehicle for, like, kind of lighthearted, like, criticism towards the body standards, I guess, because... let's see.
With her getting out of the car?
Yes, because she said, for a middle-aged woman of generous proportions, it requires a good deal of superhuman wriggling to get out from under the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Because the makers of modern motor cars assume that only a pair of sylph-like knees would ever be under the steering wheel. And sylph-like, a sylph is a term used to describe really thin or slender woman. But it's also a spirit. It's like some sort of spirit for the air or something. So they're like thin as air or something like that. I don't know. That's the origin of the word. And I thought that was interesting. There's this quote. It's again about like beauty standards because her friend, or the friend of Miss Meredith, Rhoda, says, "Oh, he fell for you. Obviously, men don't do purely disinterested kindnesses. He wouldn't come toddling down if you'd been cross-eyed and covered with pimples." And I was like, ouch!
Yeah.
Dude. But, like, she could still be a real nice person, and he could still be attracted to her.
I wish there was more Poirot, is what it says in my notes.
Aww.
Although I loved Miss Oliver, I wish there was more Poirot.
She's kind of taking up some of his,
Yeah, and she's great, but I feel like she's not, she's really funny to read, but I feel like I haven't learned any specific clues from her or anything.
Yeah.
I don't feel closer to solving the mystery. And I will say, after reading all these chapters, I feel no closer to solving it. Like, every single person has something sketchy going on. Right? Dr. Roberts, like, the end of his chapter, a little sketchy. It was like, oh, something else is going on here. Definitely with Anne Meredith, something else is going on here. Probably with Despard, too. And Miss Lorimer. And I'm like...
Because they all have that, that secret, right? That they're hiding about their past with,
we're getting that all of these people have a secret, but that doesn't make us any closer to solving this murder mystery.
Yes, and we're kind of finding out about them all as we go, so it's going to be a little slower rather than learning the truth of one character and then another
moving
character.
to the next one.
There was a reference to Sherlock Holmes.
There was another
story.
Sherlock Holmes. I actually wrote it down. It says, "Oh well, I'm not above stealing the tricks of others," and she's talking about Sherlock Holmes there.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to go, like, in order of each person and be like, how likely do you think it is?
Sure. Do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. So, first is most likely to be the murderer. Meredith. Looking at you. And then last is least likely. I would go Meredith, Major Despard, Dr. Roberts, and then Miss Lorimer. You?
I'd probably go the same, except... yeah. I would switch Roberts and Despard. Because Roberts was overbidding. And...
Yeah, there is that clue.
A little sketchy.
But I feel like he's too easy.
I know.
That it's him.
I don't know. I mean, it's fun to think of it as in terms of, like, oh, well, like, what's likely to be, like, since it's being characters and being less, suspected less. like going at it from that angle, I find it's easier to figure out a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But going at the psychological angle, it's much more difficult, and that's what Poirot's trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know what like their past with Mr. Shaitana is.
It is interesting that it's not as if we just have one mystery, who killed Mr. Shaitana, but we also have, like, 4 mysteries of, like, are all these people murderers, and who did they murder in the past? So we're really solving, like, 4 murders before we can solve the one murder.
And then just trying to decrypt what the heck Poirot means when he's asking them random questions.
Yes.
Too.
That's my favorite part.
Yes, of course. So it makes for a very enjoyable read. Thank you for joining us on this episode in which we discussed chapters 9 through 13 of Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie.
Catch us later on the Christie Club.